All right, you guys. So today we are talking about healing through containment. And, I created this 24-month Goddess of Social Work Supervision curriculum. And honestly, for me, for it to really root down and be meaningful for me as the creator of it, I created it with the astrological timings in mind, right? So I knew that I wanted to talk about this during Virgo season. And happy birthday to any other Virgos. I know that um, we have a couple of Virgos. I don't know if we have any here today, but we do have a couple. I love Virgo energy. I attract Virgo energy to me. So happy Virgo and Virgo season. And yesterday we experienced the Virgo new moon. So today our topic is healing through containment, integrating my clinical wisdom, like Jessica said, supervision practice. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Virgo new moon. And y'all, this is the other thing. I put only half my letters here, but I want to encourage you guys to put your letters behind your name as often as possible, especially as you're moving into clinical licensure, go ahead and write your clinical letters behind your name as, again, what we just said, speaking that thing into existence, right? So, I remember when we were little, I was little anyway, they would say to practice who you want to marry and write your name and your last name. I don't think I ever did that, but I did write my daughter's name, and that is absolutely what I ended up naming her. Um, and so write your letters behind your name. All right. So my intention for today is to talk about healing through containment through a clinical theory, through archetypal with the guys of social work archetypes and astrological meaning. And then I'm going to give you guys some practical applications. And so, just before we start, just taking a deep breath. I know I was running to go find my phone. Maybe you're running into the space right now after having such a busy weekend or Sunday, and just holding space for yourself, which is one of the important containers that I wanted to create for supervision, is that this was a safe space for you guys to come and feel safe to be a social worker, to feel safe to be a woman, to feel safe to be a mother, to be safe to be a sister, a daughter, a friend, bringing all of those parts of you here into this space, and then just asking yourself, where are you holding the most right now? Is it in your body? Do you feel that ache behind your neck and your shoulders? Is it in your work? Is it hard for you to tear away from your computer or from the documentation? Or, oh my God, I got to do this note or that note. Or as we prepare for Monday, thinking about all the things that you have to do to prepare for the week. Or is it in your heart? Ask your heart, is she holding a lot right now? So just grounding, again, we're in Virgo season, and just grounding in and checking in, where are you holding the most right now? So when I was thinking about healing through container, I was thinking about objects relations theory and containment. And I watched some videos, and I was tempted to put some videos into this PowerPoint, but I wanted to keep it short. So one of the things that I know that I love to encourage people is, if you hear something that you're like, I don't know what that is, or I need to find out more about it, always, especially as you are on your way to a clinical licensure. And one of my favorite phrases the CSWE gave me when I was in academia is that social workers are lifelong learners. Go on your own and research object relations theory. The reason I decided not to put a video was because I liked the ones that looked like they were from the 1970s and the 1960s. I mean, I really get a lot from those who came before us and how they speak about these theoretical approaches. But I also saw very modern day shorts and videos, little cartoony things that might be more relatable for you. So my video might be boring, whereas it's intriguing and interesting to me. And a video you go look up might resonate more with you. So I want to encourage you, go find it on your own, object relations theory. But it was developed by Winnicott, Beyond, and Klein. And how I see object relations theory, and I heard a lot of people talking about it, is when a newborn is born, what is the safety container that is built and or not built? Are they built? Are they picked up when they cry? Does their mama or the person who is that maternal figure look them in the eye and say that they're safe? I'm thinking of a baby has a gassy tummy or got startled really easily and is crying. Does that parent pick them up and hold space for them until they're able to calm down? Where I'm looking at them walking with the baby up and down, patting their back, but they're holding space, knowing that even though they had this um, experience, this uncomfortable, discomforting experience, that person is holding space for them until they're able to calm down. And as therapists, as social workers, that's what we do. We are holding space while our clients, and it's not necessarily in the therapy, like private practice, right? But any client that you're serving, you're holding space for that client as they bring to you an overwhelming emotional state until they're able to calm down and integrate, see the wisdom behind it, see the lessons, see how they're doing it differently, overcome that particular trauma. So, object relations theory talks about, or how I see it is, as social workers, we may be holding space for clients in ways that has never happened for them ever, right? Their mama couldn't do it, their teacher couldn't do it, their first partners maybe couldn't do that for them. But here we are, and we're like, talk to me. Let me hold this space for you. Let me create this container for you so that you, even if it startles you, even if it scares you, I want to sit here with you until you heal through that. And so some of the key concepts are, obviously, I said safety, predictability, and presence. And how we do that as social workers is we show up. You know what I mean? Like, if you tell your client you're going to be there at 3 o'clock on Thursday every week, be there at Thursday, 3 o'clock every week. I mean, I know that we are human and there's life that is happening. And so when we're not able to be there at 3 o'clock, it's a rare occasion, not the norm. But our client, in order to create these safe spaces, we've got to be consistent. We got to be consistent. One of the things that I know that's consistent for me is I show up on Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Y'all know I'm going to show up. And it's very, very rare, or I try to let you know in advance if I'm not going to be able to show up, right? And so creating that safety is in consistency, it's in predictability, and then be present, right? Sometimes when we're in our spaces with our client, we're thinking about what can I cook for dinner? I got to go pick up my kid from the soccer game. What time is this going to be over? We're not there yet. We're not at the dinner in the kitchen yet. We're not in the car going to the soccer game. We are still in the office or whatever space we're in with the client. Be present for them. Hear their story. Hear their story, and listen without trying to think of how you're going to respond. Because the thing is that I catch myself doing this sometimes. Oh, I need to make sure I bring that thing back up with them. And then if I am still listening and I haven't interrupted them, 2 sentences later, they're clarifying that thing I was going to bring up, right? So being present with them and not already thinking ahead of how to respond, not thinking ahead of the personal thing you have to do, but being present with them. And then when you're thinking about object relations theory, there's this thing called projection and introjection. And one of the things is our client, oh my goodness, I'm thinking about this example. I have a potential new client, and she emailed me today, and I apparently met with her a 15-minute consultation on Thursday. I would love to be able to get information back to people on a quick manner, but I'm a solo practitioner, right? So sometimes I don't email people literally on the same day. So met with her on Thursday. She messaged me today on Sunday and said me not hearing from her, or her not hearing from me, has triggered something in her. And I was like, girl, if you don't stop. Her email triggered me, and she had already told me she had borderline personality disorder and all that. And I was like, I laughed, and as Jackie's laughing, I laughed, and I was like, "You are not." And she almost did, though, y'all. She almost pulled me in, but that's what that is, projection, right? She's putting her angst, like what What's your trigger got to do with me, lady? It's Sunday. So what I did, instead of catching the bait, I just emailed her the information she would need if she wanted to work with me in the future. I was like, hope you're doing well. This is the information we talked about. And I didn't catch the bait. I didn't allow her emotional state to pull me into an emotional state as well. That's what our clients do. They project onto us. Another example, I'm thinking, I have this Virgo client who I absolutely adore. I've been working with her for 3 or 4 years. But my goodness, she comes in and it is a lot of uh, negative statements, that she says. And I'm just like, whoa, wait, whoa. It catches me off guard because there's a lot of negativity. We're holding space. And I'm thinking about a container, right? And if somebody's pouring something bitter into this container that I'm holding for you, I'm gonna start feeling that energy, right? And so we're holding this space. Clients are projecting their anger or their bitterness. I'm thinking of another client I have. She's just so angry that she cannot get enough sleep. And she just been going on and on about that for 2 sessions, angry about not being able to get enough sleep. So they're projecting onto us what they're feeling. And then that can shift our own emotional state, right? But if I can just hold space and be like, give her feedback, talking about sleep hygiene, staying calm, or even when my client who starts the session is 5 minutes worth of complaining about whatever, 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 I'll say something like, and I think this is on the next slide. Whew, that was a lot. Let's take a moment and breathe for a second. Again, not letting myself catch the bait in all of the negative statements she's saying, but sitting with her and saying, "Whoa, man, yeah, that is a lot you're dealing with this week. Let's take 3 deep breaths together." And I used to feel uncomfortable doing this, but I literally will sit and take 3 deep breaths. And I know it takes 3 deep breaths, not just one, not just two, but three. And there's some science behind it. Jackie probably knows it and can tell us, but I know it takes 3 deep breaths in order for us to find a homeostasis of calmness, right? And then over time, and this is another example, over time, the clients then begin to internalize the containment. They begin to be able to find some self-regulation because I don't go into their moods and into their emotion, but I model the mood or the emotion that I would like to have them express for themselves, not just within the therapeutic setting, but also with their family, friends, and in their workspace. So another example that I'm thinking is clients that I'm working with who might be dealing with some type of mild depression, especially those beautiful women that I get to, they just come, they got a baseball hat on, they got sweats on, and they got, they're just and they're coming there every day. Their inside state is reflected by their outside appearance, right? But and I've just been doing this the last 2 or 3 months. I show up with my earrings on. I show up with my bracelets on. I show up and I put on a little lip gloss and a little eyeliner and mascara. And what I've been noticing is my clients are doing the same. And in fact, they say, I got dressed up for therapy. Who gets dressed up for therapy? But guess what I'm doing? Without even saying anything, I am modeling for them the space that they say that they want to hold. I'm modeling for them the way that they want to feel. I'm modeling for them what they want to see, right? And it doesn't take it wasn't any theory, it's not anything I said that was so enlightening. I just put a little mascara on, eyeliner, my own bracelets and earrings, and I try to show up as beautiful but as comfortable still as I can. And now they're reflecting it back to me. Okay. Next slide. So healing through containment. I probably already said this, but for our clients, it's safe relational container for big feelings. Not saying, oh my, not saying, oh my God, I've never dealt with anything like that before. Oh my, that. They're like, see, that's why I don't tell anybody that. Just like, yeah, that is big. Let's breathe through it, right? Modeling emotional regulation and integration. We're helping them transform these fragmented stories into a narrative meaning. One of the things that I love that I get to see is like, you told me 2 months ago that you wanted to show up in this particular way. Now you have an opportunity to show up in this particular way. And what I remember you telling me through another story is the reason you don't show up in that way is because this, and this happened to you. This is an opportunity for you to alchemize that. You ready to step into that? You ready to be brave? And if you're not, that's okay. If we're not feeling brave enough or courageous enough to know that this is what you said you wanted to do, you already told me these are the reasons you don't do it, and now here's an opportunity for you to do it. Whatever you decide, I'm gonna be here with you. But we're transforming these fragmented pieces of them and helping them find some wholeness with that. All right. But also, I want to make sure I said for you guys, we got to stay grounded right now in this moment. Every time I sit down here and I turn the Zoom on, I take my shoes off. I put my feet on the ground every time. Virgo season says go outside and put your feet in some grass. I know it's been raining a lot, but as much as you can, put your feet on the ground, especially when you're dealing with your clients. I know in some of the spaces we work, but for those of you, I know Jessica, Jackie, y'all work at home. Put your feet on the ground. Take your shoes off and put your feet on the ground when you are witnessing somebody's trauma. Another thing for me, and again, this is Renita's perspective, I have crystals all around me. And when I'm feeling a client, I'm feeling their angst, feeling their anger, my favorite one right now is this rose quartz. I will pick that up and I will just start rubbing it. I'll start rubbing on it. I also, and y'all just got some fresh flowers today, so I got to redo it. But I try to keep fresh flowers in my space so that I can stay grounded and not get wrapped up and caught up in the emotional state of my clients. Beautify your own space in a way that feels grounded for you so that when you're witnessing trauma, you can look to the side, you can rub your crystal. One of the other things I love, my signature scent, I can smell my scent and come back to myself and not get swept away in whatever's going on with my client. Setting emotional and structural boundaries. Big one with the structural boundaries. Clients love doing doorknob therapy. They like at the last 3 to 5 minutes of a session tell you some big, big event, right? And like again, favorite thing to say 3 to 5 minutes in, oh man, that is huge. You've been holding that one for a long time. I'm so glad you shared that with me. Why don't we start with that one on our next session instead of thinking you have to now run late because this client said some big thing. Now I got to spend 15, 20 minutes talking about that. No, one, we're going to honor ourselves because that's why we're taking notes on because we're not stopping at our 45-minute mark and doing our note. We're letting the client be the ones in control of the time versus ourselves being in control of it. And remind and saying, wow, that is big, honoring that it is a big announcement they just made, but then setting another containment container for them to talk to you about it at the next session, okay? Or the next time you see them. Or giving them homework. I love journaling. Giving them oh, that sounds like something we're going to need to be journaling about. Bring your journal back with you at your next session so we can go over it. Okay. And recognizing countertransference as information, not failure. If you find that you are overemphasizing or over identifying with a client, that's just, oh, you're a human being. And how I see it is because one of my prayers, and I know some of you have heard me say, only those who are in alignment with me or higher will even find me. Only those who are in alignment with me are high. So if I'm still healing and we all are still healing, my clients are going to show up with stuff that I'm going to definitely identify with. So for me, I'm like, oh, there's some healing there that Renita needs to do. And I jot a little note down for myself. And then, which is this important part, I set really good intentions on trying to heal that part, because one of the things I know to be true is you can only take your client as far as you're willing to go. And if something gets triggered in you during a session, and then you don't be intentional about doing your own healing work on it, your client's going to stay there and you're going to be like, I don't know why they don't do blah, 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 blah. Well, honey, have you done it yet? Have you set the intention to heal that in you yet? So I see countertransference as information as to what do I need to work on next. Right. So my favorite part, Virgo new moon, which we just had on yesterday, is about structure, ritual, grounded care, refinement. Right. And so when I think about containers, and y'all, again, I just did this PowerPoint 2 hours ago, so I'm not sure if it's on the next slide or if I was supposed to mention it before. But one of the things I think about when I think about containment is, what containers do I create for myself? I like to call them bookends. In the morning, I have a morning routine that I pour into Renita before I talk to anybody, pick up my phone, whatever. So I say I have a little prayer. It's not a little, I have 3 little prayers that I say. I light a candle because I love lighting candles. I said my prayer, I light my candle. For Renita, I pull a tarot card and an oracle card, and then I sit down for a few minutes and I reflect on what those potential meanings could be. Because one of the things that I love is when I pull these cards, I end up seeing that energy in my clients, and it makes me excited. It makes the work fun versus draining, right? So I pull oracle and a tarot card, and then I sit down and I journal about it. I have these 3-week stints that I do some yoga. I'm in a yoga class with some other women online, and every 3 weeks, for 3 weeks, we do yoga together. And so that's my morning container where I pour into Renita before I do anything else, right? And then in the evening, I have a separate container where I wash away the day, wash away other people's energies. And I learned this probably 7 years ago when I had went and talked to someone, and they're like, you have 18 years worth of client stuff on you. And I knew that was true because I couldn't distinguish my memories from clients' memories. Like, did that trauma happen to me or was that somebody else? And so now one of the things I do between my containers, and I know you guys have heard me say this, is I get up from my seat in between sessions and I go and I wash my hands. And I do that in an intentional way to make sure I'm washing away the energy of the person that I just held space for. Then I put on, and I had it here. Here it is. My little signature scent. I created myself, y'all. My little signature scent after I wash my hands, so that again I can smell it and be like, come back to you. This is not yours, this is theirs. This is not your stuff, this is their stuff. Make sure you give them back their pen. But supporting is support. So you have these bookends so that even if your day, you do something in the morning for yourself in the morning, you do something for yourself in the evening, wash away the day. I do a meditation, and I'm a writer, so I do a little bit more journaling. But in between those two, the morning and the evening, if my day goes to hell, I've created these containers that hold space for me. Okay. And then because I create these containers, I'm able to model that for you guys and for my clients. So one of the questions, and you can, just think about this briefly, where can you create more structure in your life that could potentially bring you more ease? Virgo says, create to-do lists, love to-do lists. Virgo loves a to-do list. Can you clean off your desk this weekend before Monday starts? Is there a simple practice you can make sure that your desk is cleaned off if you work in an organization and not necessarily from home, where you make sure your desk is cleaned off before you walk out the door, so that when you come back the next day, you have a clean slate. It's a clean day. It's a new day, new energy, new opportunities, new experiences. Where can you create some structure in your life that could bring you some more ease? So then, quickly, using containment with clients, I told you guys we stop and do some breath work. I told you we put our feet on the ground. I often, especially for my clients who experience anxiety, I ask them to always bring some water with them to their sessions so that they're feeling some anxiety. We can take a sip of water. One of the orienting exercises I have clients do, tell me 5 things you're grateful for right now in this moment. What's something you're grateful for that's happening good for you right now in this moment? Again, we talked about naming and normalizing. That's a lot to hold. Let's slow down and breathe together. Keeping a steady tone, a slow pace, a calming presence. Also creating micro containers that look like doing the same thing. I always ask the same question, not to the same client, but it seems like each client has their own question according to their personalities that I ask when they come see me, especially if they've come to see me lots of times. I have this one client, I always ask her how she's feeling. And one of the reasons I started doing that is because she would stop. I ask a couple of times, as soon as she comes on, how are you feeling? And she's like, how am I feeling? Who am I feeling? I love that she does that. So I ask her every single time. That's exactly how we open her session. And we anchor into how is she feeling. And then how I close each of my sessions is when do you want to schedule again? So we're keeping that accountability, right? We already know you're going to be seeing me next Thursday at 10 o'clock. So I close out my sessions. They know when I'm bringing out that black book and I have my pen, I make sure I show it on camera that our session is coming to end. And they've already been thinking about, because a lot of them will already say, I want to come back on the 22nd at 6 o'clock, whatever that is for them. But we're setting a ritual opening and closing. Okay. I love, and I'm really good at, and you can start practicing summarizing what I heard you say. So, what I heard you say in today's session is, how's that sitting for you? And again, like I said, especially when you summarize, that will trigger something in a client. Oh, such and such happened to me. And now you got this big piece of information 5 minutes before the session's closing. Let's hold on to that and start with that one at the next session. Okay. So not only we're holding a container, they're looking for this, what we just did, they're looking forward to sitting in the container you've already started building for them for the next session. Okay. And so using containment with yourself, we've already talked about journaling. I believe in journaling. And, for me, I journal, and it says after heavy sessions, I kind of journal generally. I have so many journals, and I'm thinking about all the people who are going to read my journals when I'm no longer on this planet. And so I don't put, clients' names or anything in there because, we don't want to do any of that. But I journal in a general way of not necessarily what happened during the session, but how it made me feel and what it brought up for me. And what do I want to do with that? Obviously, we talked about grounding rituals and mindfulness practices. Told you guys, create your own morning routine before, even if you have to get up 30 minutes early before the kiddos, and create your own morning routine and create one for yourself in the evening time. Scheduling buffer time between clients, even if it's just getting up and going and washing your hands and being intentional about washing away the client before you, washing away their energy before you see the next person. Getting up and if you can't run to the restroom because it's way down the hallway or whatever, getting up and doing the rose spray in your face. I love that. Michael's has it. Marshall's has it. Getting and doing a rose facial spritz in your face to clear away that person's energy, even if you can't get up and wash your hands, but doing something in between clients that resets your energy. Obviously, coming to supervision, talking to each other about tougher situations. But this is the biggest thing. And again, I told you guys, I learned this 7 years ago. What is mine to hold and what isn't? That client saying, I'm triggered with lack of communication. I almost held that. Almost like, oh my God, I should have messaged her. I should have emailed her on Thursday after we met. I was like, girl, talking to myself, when did you have time? But you have time now, but you don't have to fall into her bed. You can give her the information that she was requesting without getting caught up in her emotional state. Her being triggered is not anything for me to hold. Does that make sense? That's her own stuff, not mine. So asking yourself, what is yours to hold and what isn't? And I believe journaling will help you know the difference between the two. So, how do you know when your container is full? For me, I started to feel burnt out, like I was starting to feel burnt out in supervision. I was like, what will keep this in? Because I love supervision. Oh my God. We had 8 goddesses get their clinical license in a 3 to 4 month span. We must be doing something right here. But if I'm feeling burnt out about it, doesn't mean I throw the whole baby away with the bathwater. How do you know when you're feeling too full, when you've taken on too much? Where do you need someone else's container right now? Meaning, well, how do you know you need to like ask for help? One of the things that I do, I wanted to create the circle group, but I knew I couldn't do it on my own. So I asked a couple of people to help me moderate and to post. Jackie, I was like, Jackie, can you go into circle and comment and find all the goddesses and comment on their posts for me? Because right now I want to and I want them to feel seen, but I don't have time. Can you do that for me? I need your container right now. Doesn't mean I'm not going to eventually go do it myself, but in the moment, so I can release any shame of guilt of not doing the thing, I needed someone else who did have the space to do it for me. Okay. So where do you need someone else's container or do you lean on someone else's strength right now? And again, Virgo new moon, what ritual could you create this week to hold what you feel is unmanageable? And again, it could be so something simple as looking and being like, this right now is not all there is. I'm going to go to Publix and get me some fresh flowers. This right now is not all it is. I'm going to make sure my desk is cleaned off at the end of the day. And I'm going to keep doing that all week long and see how that feels for me. This right now is all that is. I'm going to put my lipstick on and my lip gloss and my eyeliner and mascara from Monday to Friday and see how that shifts or changes the energy and the clients that I'm seeing and serving. If I show up as my best self, how do my clients begin to show up in the spaces I'm in? What ritual could you create this week to hold what feels unimaginable? And ladies, that is the end of our slideshow. And I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording, and then I would love to hear from you guys about what we just talked about.